Today's video is all about Nexa, a digital economy with capacity for all. We're going to be doing a bit of a deep dive in this video, looking at the value proposition, the team, the tokenomics, and much, much more. But what's more important is, does this project have what it takes to make it to our bull run portfolio? So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. And guys, is Nexa the next opportunity? Of course, today's video is a deep dive. We're going to be looking to a lot of the details with regards to what makes this project special. And if it is special, and if it is interesting, and the value proposition is there, we have to figure out if we are going to be scaling into this project for the up and coming bull run, and how much of our portfolio is going to be made up of Nexa. At the end of the day, guys, we're going to be using the website as our main platform to navigate this project. I'm hoping that the website gives us everything we need in order to get bullish. However, guys, it gives us also an opportunity to critique the website as a gateway to the project. It should be well built and provide all the info we need. So we'll be using it as our main platform, and we'll dabble into other metrics on other websites to, basically give us a big picture. All right, let's begin. Nexa, what is it? It's a scalable layer 1 blockchain ever built. It is the most scalable. Okay, guys. So right away, it's a narrative that has been around for a while. Okay, so we're looking for layer 1s. We're looking for blockchains. We're looking for better blockchains. We're looking for competition for, basically within that same space. There's obviously tons of competition. One of which, the major competitor is Ethereum as a layer 1 blockchain, providing smart contracts and all of that. I'm assuming what they're trying to do is take over some of the market cap from Ethereum and all the other altcoins or layer 1s out there trying to do the same thing. So guys, right away, what comes to my mind is that it's a very competitive space, and it's a narrative that has been around for a while. So what really bothers me here is the fact that the hype. Where's the hype? Like, how can we generate hype on a concept that has been lingering around for a good while? It will handle over 10 billion transactions per day, while offering EVM-like smart contracts. Okay, EVM-like, I'm not sure what that means, even if it does matter or not. EVM, just basically Ethereum compatible contracts, which is good because that means that you got a cross-chain capability, being able to deploy the same smart contracts that you can deploy on Ethereum can be deployed here on Nexa, which means that, developers that are using Solidity are able to deploy the same smart contracts right here on Nexa. So I'm assuming that's the case. Native token service, all while staying decentralized. Of course, that's part of the main value proposition here in crypto land. If you're not decentralized, you guys know what I say. No faith-based systems for me. We want decentralized applications, decentralized networks, so that we can basically rest assured that not one main identity is in control of any network. And so far, this is good. Just, not bad of an idea here. Of course, we're going to have to scroll through this a little bit more. And there's good media if you're interested in watching a video, but you can see the word in the background here, scaling trilemma. Guys, that word trilemma has been around for a while. And this is what kind of bothers me, is this trilemma business. The trilemma, finding solutions to blockchains has been a big narrative in the last little while. Of course, we know that Ethereum has its issues. Majority of its issues is the scalability and, obviously the gas fees that come with all the congestion of a network, right? So Ethereum does have that issue, right? But it's Ethereum. Obviously, this video is not about Ethereum, but we got to understand what's happening with Ethereum, and then that's a problem. And then there's software companies that are coming out to solve that problem with these solutions. So Nexa is a software solution. The question is, can it compete with the Ethereum network, given the fact that it's the most established network out there already, right? So this is something to consider. Quick start exchanges, you can go check that out. We're going to obviously look at the exchanges that it's listed on. The Discord, decent community, could get a little bit more traction. I did go on there, ask a few questions. Not enough hype and not enough participation information on the Discord. When you want a very, very resilient or bright community that is ready to go, and you get on there and you start asking questions, it takes time to actually get somebody to respond, or the community could get a little bit more a little bit more interesting, let's put it that way. A wallet, of course, and Telegram as well. Telegram, I'm not really feeling the whole Telegram concept. I don't know if Telegram still has its value to a community anymore. I'm hearing a lot of negative things with regards to Telegram, given the fact that a lot of newcomers can't even get a Telegram account with their phone numbers and getting access and things like that. I'm so slowly seeing, even as a content creator myself, that Telegram itself is not as popular as it used to be, and Discord is definitely where it's at. So I would be, if I were Nexa, I would be putting more effort in Discord rather than Telegram, if that's the case, just for the fact that you can actually foster a great community on Discord and build some of that hype that you really need for a software solution such as Nexa, which I think that the hype is going to be the hardest thing to create. Let's continue here. Global capacity, 10 billion transactions, basically enough transactions to fulfill all the needs of the entire planet. Great stuff. Of course, a lot of the layer ones are going to be saying this native token. We can move on from there. Very similar standard to the ERC20. Native NFTs, of course, you can deploy smart contracts and NFT contracts. Wise contracts, ultra scalable smart contract system that is everything possible on an EVM chain. Fine. Proof of work. So this is one of the narratives also that is kind of clawing back after the proof of stake scenario came out. And we saw Ethereum move on to proof of stake. A lot of individuals, a lot of blockchains started realizing that proof of work still has a lot of value to offer, given the fact that it's completely decentralized. And it basically relieves some of that issue with it being classified as a security or not. So not bad of a scenario, sticking with the proof of work consensus mechanism. At the end of the day, it is the same consensus that Bitcoin uses. So we know that it works. We know that it's tried and tested. So this is really, really good. Instant transactions, very quick, speedy, all that good stuff. So there's a lot to be said here. Of course, you could click here and learn more. You're going to have a few more little articles, little, speed solutions, more technical. UTXO, it's the same Bitcoin standard, and signature creation verification, a little bit more of everything. UTX, this is what we have to really understand, a little bit of the technical aspects if you want to dig a little bit deeper. Instant transactions, native tokens, community, DeFi staking, ICO. So again, this is where it can be applied to. The blockchain can support any of these type of use cases. Collectibles, proof of work, wise contracts. Okay, we kind of already talked about that. A little bit of repetition in a more expanded way, of course. Metrics, price per. It's price, $12. Okay, supply, the price doesn't really matter at the end of the day. The supply is 4.2 trillion next. Guys, don't get hung up on the trillions and the millions and the billions and all of that. What you really want to know is number one, how many of tokens are currently in circulation. Number two, what's the utility? The utility is so important, and you have to put it into framework. Now, I know that a trillion sounds like a lot. It is a lot. It is a lot of tokens. But we're going to have to look at this in a little bit of a different lens, because ultimately, if it is going to be a layer one that is massive, that has a lot of utility, a lot of projects being built on it, those projects are going to need next tokens. And if that's the case, the trillion is the supply that it needs, right? But however, how is this supply going to hit the market? That's an important thing. What is the emission schedule? We'll talk about that more in more detail, because it's not really clear here. The market cap currently is 52 million. I don't know if this is up to date or not, but we'll take a look at CoinGecko. The capacity, of course, on transactions, platforms, launch type, fair launch. That's a good thing, given the fact that, basically no tokens were issued early on before, a launch or anything like that. Everything is completely distributed based on rewards, which is a good thing, because that not one wallet statistically speaking, should be holding the majority of the tokens, even at early launch, right? So quick distribution. Obviously, there's going to be whales out there that got in early, that took a chance, that bought a big bag, and that's nothing you can really do anything about. That's something that actually, in fact, happens on all tokens. That's the reality. It's a free market, right? So somebody out there could definitely be bullish and just come buy a bunch of tokens, and they're early adopters that are willing to take a bit of risk. And guess what, guys? If Nexa does well, those are the people that deserve the reward. That's just plain fact, right? So launch date, it's been around for a bit, nothing too crazy. 2022. It's a proof of work using the UTX model. Of course, max supply. This is where things get a bit interesting. 21 trillion max supply. And it's going to be distributed. Basically, the emission is going to take about 140 years. So for those of you that are afraid of dilution over, based on the fact that more supply could enter the market over time, I understand that concept. Via supply and demand, we can understand that there's going to be a bit of pressure on price dilution, essentially, that will cause the price to either come down or remain stagnant. However, there is an emission schedule that's going to limit the amount of tokens that come out in circulation, and that schedule basically ensures that the total max supply takes about 140 years to actually meet the max supply. So ultimately, I don't think that, I think the slow and steady approach of emission is going to give Nexa and the ecosystem the opportunity to keep the token price, or the coin price. It's not a token, it's a coin. They have their own blockchain. The coin price nice and high, or at least allow the ecosystem to absorb all the new supply that enters the market slowly. Okay, so that's the reality. A lot of people get hung up on the trillions, and then they say it's poor tokenomics. You got to look at the emission schedule. Okay, so we got to keep that into consideration, because if they're only going to release a certain amount per year or per month, or whatever the case is, ultimately it's not going to cause the price to come down drastically. Okay, so something to consider. The schedule, here it is, 10 million next per block. So the block, it's all dependent on block size and block completion. Very exactly how Bitcoin does theirs. At the end of the day, Bitcoin is not by date. I know a lot of us time the halving by date, but it has nothing to do with date. It has to do with block completion. So at this rate, 10 million next per block completion, that's what we're going to see as far as emission. Okay, so interesting stuff. I think it's trying to resemble Bitcoin significantly, which is good, just with a greater amount of max supply. And of course, we know that Bitcoin's recipe has been, tried and tested and is doing very, very well. Okay, so let's continue. Who is building Nexa? So this is one thing. There's an organization, okay? It's called Bitcoin Unlimited, a 7-year-old organization, a team of crypto OGs, okay? So they have a lot of experience, and this is something that we kind of have to touch upon, because when you're starting to look for information with regards to the team here on the nexa.org website, there's not much happening there with regards to the team. And okay, we'll definitely look into that in a second. Okay, and we'll also get into the Bitcoin Unlimited website, just to give you an idea, because the Bitcoin Unlimited website will actually give you more of those details with regards to the team, which in my opinion should be corrected. Okay, the Nexa website should have everything as well, even if it's duplicated. Put it also, because that means less research, less digging, and you want this information up front and center on your website. So the wallet is compatible via all platforms, pretty much all the major ones, Windows and Mac, which is good. And if you're interested in Linux, it's definitely available. You have mobile wallets, that's very important, and so on. You got some articles here that if you want to read and check out what's happening, that's good. It's good for engagement. The exchanges, look how nice this is. This is almost like this website's built for deep dives. I just have to scroll. This is a good thing, right? CoinX, Bitmart, SafeTrade. So ultimately, there are a lot of exchanges. There are a lot of small exchanges. Okay, so this is one of the issues here for me. I like liquidity. Mexi's up and coming. Mexi's doing very well as far as offering, volume. However, we got to understand that it's still a mid tier. Okay, it's not a top tier. We're not talking about a Binance or a Coinbase or even a KuCoin. KuCoin is big too. So if KuCoin was part of the mix, I would be a little bit more, okay, at least Mexi and KuCoin, the two largest mid-tier projects, so exchanges. So I would be a little bit more interested as far as volume goes, because we want to be able to find the liquidity when you want to sell. That's the reality. If you want to, or even buy for that matter, right? So you want to have exchanges with lots of volume and liquidity readily available. And one thing to note is that this could be both a positive or a negative, right? Positive could be the fact is that Nexa could be listed on Coinbase. It could be listed on Binance. It could be listed on KuCoin. Could be you get my point. But what about the opposite? That's a very bullish thing, because as soon as that happens, we know that the price starts to run, right? So as soon as it gets listed. However, at the same time, there's a negative aspect here, which is liquidity. If the market runs and it does well, and you try to sell, could Mexi basically have enough buyers to buy up the coins that you want to sell? That is the issue. And Bitmart is very small, and CoinEx is very small, and so on and so forth. Okay, so keep that in mind. Join us, the Discord, the Telegram. The Discord is great. If anything, you're going to go on the Discord, but just keep in mind that it took me a bit to kind of get going there. We'll talk about their Twitter account. We'll talk about what's going on there with their Twitter engagement, because that's a big part of the hype factor. Okay, so definitely we'll go see that. I have some stats for you guys, and that infographic that I produce, I'm going to be showing it to you soon, and I'm going to be releasing that infographic on the socials very, very soon, right after this video gets posted. The funding, Bitcoin Unlimited, crowdfunding, and so on. So as a fair launch, we have to understand that a lot of the funds that are required to get this thing going, like even listed on exchanges, is going to be crowdfunded. Okay, so a lot of people frown upon that, because they basically say, well, how can this organization that's supposed to be valued at XXX, at the end of the day, why are they asking for money? Why are they crowdfunding? Well, because it's a fair launch, right? Who do you expect to pay it, right? Or pay or offer the liquidity to Mexi or KuCoin and so on. They want liquidity. They want some sort of reserve. Who's going to do that, right? Who's going to offer that? So this is this scenario here. We got to understand there should be a bit of crowdfunding here, and Bitcoin Unlimited is definitely the organization that's going to front run that. Okay, so interesting. And then you got some marketing logos. If you're interested in using some of this for any media, they have that, which I've never really seen a website from a project put this like right front and center like that. They usually have it on a tab somewhere at the bottom. Speaking of tabs at the bottom, let's take a look at what's happening here. Features. You can look up more about the details, the technical aspects. If you want to run a node, that's also available. If you want to run a node, again, that was a little bit of the details and some of the instructions about how to get that started. What else do we have here? Let's go back, and we have the mining. Again, you can be a miner. So there's nodes, there's mining, so you can actually mine blocks, or you can be a validator just with a node, which is good, right? So you're going to get rewarded both ways, which is something that a lot of people don't understand, is that you get rewarded, and rewards are definitely going to be distributed as you participate on the network. Okay, so that's important. Now, the most important that I really like to look at, obviously, when I scope out a project that is small and that is up and coming, let's see, is the team. Okay, so let's look at the team for a second. Bitcoin OGs, these are the dudes. These are it, right? So if you hover over them, they show you their name. But if you click on them, let's do that. Let's open this a new tab. You're going to see that it takes you to their Twitter account, which is nothing wrong with that, right? But for them to be classified as fully doxed, you need a little bit more than just a Twitter account. And obviously, there's very little effort being put at this stage with regard to the social. And I'm gonna just kind of summarize the fact that all of these dudes pretty much have a similar effect, all Twitter-based links. However, guys, if you want more information, you're gonna have to go to the Bitcoin Unlimited page. And if you go here, let me just open this in a new tab as well, so we can keep everything organized in our flow here as we do research. You go here, and then I think it's in the About Us, and then you go to Members, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. You're gonna see that these are very, very similar faces, right? So if you start clicking, you're gonna see that this dude right here, we got more info. right? You got a lot more info. You can read about him, what he's got going on in his life, where he comes from, his background, and so on, which is much more, valuable than just having a Twitter link. Now, this is a totally different website. Yes, Bitcoin Unlimited is the organization that is basically the foundation that is keeping the Nexa project going, right? Almost like how Bitcoin has a foundation and so on, or Ethereum in that case. So this is the foundation. This is the organization. Now, you can get into a little bit more details with regards to who they are. Obviously, LinkedIn is a great way to distribute some of this information and get verified and fully doxed. But this is where we're at. This is not bad. At least we got this going. There's a bit of clicking that needs to be done, but what can we do? That's research, but nonetheless, it would be nice to have that right here and just duplicate the information. So less clicking and less, more transparency ultimately for the Nexa brand in itself. Okay, so that's pretty good. What else do we have here? Let's continue. We have the team. So by the way, that team is solid. Okay, lots of experience, not only in the software development stage, but also in finance and so on. So really good stuff. Do your research. Obviously, read. I did mine. They're solid. They're good. Okay, so don't verify for yourself. Do a bit of reading. Exchanges we talked about, a little bit of news. Okay, let's look at the ecosystem. What's going on here? This is where I got a little bit confused. What is a partner? What is an ecosystem? And a lot of the projects kind of, muddle that relationship. And for me, that's a big issue. But I can tell right away that this is a wallet. Of course, it's a wallet. Doplo. Is it an ecosystem project? Yes, it would be included as an ecosystem. Is it a partner? Not really. It wouldn't be, my opinion, considered a partner. So that's a good thing, right? So Discover developers, partners, and builders, they kind of couple them up significantly. But the fact that you can use Doplo as a wallet, which is good. That's something that we want to know, is taking full custody of our tokens. And then, I don't know if you guys remember, Chainge Finance. Chainge is a DeFi project that a lot of people are talking about lately. So it is integrated in the Chainge ecosystem, and they're working together here. So with 13 integrated chains and counting, their app supports over 75 assets so that users can maximize their wealth potential and enjoy secure, flexible, and a worry-free financial life. So this is really good. This is a part of the Nexa ecosystem, and that is about it. Right, so that's it. Now, if you and of course, I'm not trying to say it's negative, but it's a small project. Nexa's market cap is very, very small. So you understand that, their partnerships or their relationships or in their ecosystem is going to be equivalent to their size. It's going to be, appropriate for their size. So this is good, a good start. At least they got something going. Now, I wanted to look into, I think it's in the news section where you can get, let's see, they have a relationship with another partnership right here, NiceHash. If you go into right here, they got a partnership with NiceHash, which is basically allows people to mine. It's a mining program of some sort. So that's good. We know that, as a proof of work, we need that mining capability. So it's allow miner, make sure to update NiceHash miner. So just basically a mining, I think it's a cloud-based mining type of a project. So pretty good, I guess. They're starting in the right direction, building those relationships, which is good. Nice and supportive to the community. Let's move on. Let's see what else we got here. It's just that the project is very young, so we got to treat it as that, right? You're not going to be looking for major relationships and a lot of little other things, progress, roadmap, and so on and so forth. Guys, there's no real clear roadmap here. Or right on the main page, you're gonna have to go right into here, and then you get a little bit of info for sure. You get some dates, which is very necessary. We got some phases that they want to get into, right? In the next little while, we're right around this level, mid 2023, end of 2024. That's a bit of a time span, but it's okay. They're giving you a general idea. So fully featured token service, gigablock scaling, so more scaling. Mobile wallet, so maybe their native mobile wallet, major a marketing push. Obviously, guys, in my opinion, this is going to be the hardest and most important for this project, and it's all because of the hype, all because of the narrative that they're trying to tackle here. In my opinion, it's a very tough one. Okay, so that's my take. This is an important thing. I'm glad that they have it here on the medium term to midterm roadmap. That for me, marketing is, you got to push forward. And it's the most expensive and it's the most difficult at the end of the day. So something that we got to keep in mind, that the team's got to put that effort. So I'm glad that they were able to identify that as a necessity. All right, guys, so we did pretty good here. We talked about the major ideas, what it is. Let's see, what else do we have here? Let's take a look at this. We did that. We went on the Bitcoin Unlimited, some more research. Let's talk about the actual wallets and the rich list, what they call the rich list here on the Explorer, the Nexa Explorer is called there's a section here called the rich list. Essentially, it kind of shows you who owns the majority of the tokens, and you got them in order right here, but you also have a bit of a chart on the right that shows you like a general idea of percentages. So basically, the top 25 wallets hold approximately 19% of the tokens. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. We look for a lot of this. We want it to be well distributed. We want it to be nice and dispersed amongst the community. So not one or two or three or four wallets hold the majority of the tokens. Now, if you look at the actual distribution right here, you can see that there's one wallet that holds approximately 16%, 16.3%. It's a lot. That's one wallet, but that could be a Maxi wallet. Right, that's the reality. It could be an exchange wallet. A lot of the exchanges need the liquidity in order to provide that to their clients. So the reality is, we got to understand it is a small market cap project, and things like this are absolutely normal. Yes, it's a lot, but I'm wondering if this is a Maxi wallet. It would be nice for transparency to actually see if it's a Maxi wallet. I try to dig in to the actual address, and there's not much information, unfortunately. I couldn't really see what kind of wallet it was, but feel free to let me know in the comment section if you are able to dig up any more extra info with regards to this wallet address. Because if it's just an individual wallet, it is a little bit concerning because it's a significant amount, but it's not that great. It's not that much. Nothing that really is going to deter me from, potentially scaling into this project, buying some dips along the way. All right, guys, I think we did good. We covered it. Let's take a look at some of the metrics. So we're going to look at the market cap here. It's about a $51 million market cap. So it's still very small, almost considered a micro cap. It's between a micro and a low cap altcoin for sure. A lot of potential gains for sure. We have a circulating supply of about 4.2 trillion units out of the 21 trillion. So we got a few tokens out there already in supply. But I want you to be aware that the total supply has already been met. The total supply means that at the current moment, there's no more supply to go out in circulation until the schedule for emissions gets hit, right? So every 4 years, a certain amount of tokens are going to be released. And that way, slow and steadily, you will see that the total max supply will definitely hit the market, but slow and steady. It's going to take about 140 years by the time that happens. So it's going to be very slow and steady. But nonetheless, at the current moment, we shouldn't be too concerned about dilution until the next basically halving. So market cap, we talked about the volume. It's a little low, but I'm okay with that. It's not bad. I think it's about 8%. Fully diluted, 50%. It's very small because of the total, right? So you have to understand right now, as soon as we get another wave of supply, the fully diluted is not going to look as healthy. But that's the name of the game, guys. We're early. Think about Bitcoin did the same thing. Bitcoin did the same thing at the beginning, the fully diluted and the market cap and the amount of max supply. It looked very similar, and you take chance based on this, but you get rewarded if you take a bit of risk. And the reality is, with no risk, there's no gain, there's no potential gain. So we got to understand that if you're looking for perfect tokenomics, you're looking for a project that is probably not going to be worth $51 million market cap. Okay, it's going to be a larger cap altcoin by that time. Okay, so just consider that taking risk is healthy, especially when the risk to reward is healthy. Okay, that's really what you're looking for, is risk to reward ratio. We keep on going down again. Maxi, some of the exchanges are not listed here on CoinGecko, which is absolutely normal. That's fine. But ultimately here, guys, we're doing pretty good. We covered a lot of these different aspects. Let's take a look at that infographic that I produced for you guys. This right here. Let's look at this in a little bit detail. You can see that ultimately, some of this coin info. Let's look at the ecosystem. We got Chainge, Atoplo wallets, which is good. could be a little bit more. We could have a little bit more of an ecosystem, and the relationship is not even that clear, which I would have liked. Are they built? Is Chainge built on Nexa? Is that the relationship, or how does that fit in to their ecosystem specifically? You know, a little bit more info without having to dig so deep and read. We want something that's clear, concise. Give us some pointers and move forward. But still pretty good. Utility. Again, the utility, unfortunately, I didn't see anything other than mining rewards, using it for transaction fees when there's actual transactions to be made, and then that's it. So unfortunately, I don't see anything with regards to staking. I don't see anything to regards to burning. I don't see anything other than mining rewards and node rewards. That's about it. Transaction fees, I'm assuming that's going to have to be the case, because what else is there? Right now, their ecosystem is quite young, so we don't even see too much of that happening. But this is my issue, is that what's the use case for this token if there's no ecosystem? So unfortunately, the ecosystem and its utility are kind of tied together. And unfortunately, because the ecosystem is very young, there's no real sense of utility. I would have least like to see some good indications of maybe some, strategy for people that want to lock up or hold some tokens in some sort of treasury or something like that. That would be pretty cool. But at this current moment, there's no real utility. The roadmap, nice and clear, good dates, good vision. I like the fact that they identified they needed to push marketing, because marketing is going to be the toughest thing, in my opinion, for this project. The team fully doxed, needed a little bit of clicking here and there, but the information is there. I would have liked to see those links and provide more information on the actual Nexa website, rather than having to go to the Bitcoin Unlimited website. That for me is something important for that website to get a better review. The socials, unfortunately, if you look at the X followers, in the last little while, they've been doing good. Okay, their followers have been good, but they've been losing a little bit of followers, actually significant amount in comparison to the previous 30 days. The last 30 days, in comparison to the last 30 days, their actual follower count has come down approximately 500%. Which is significant. Now, we are in a phase currently in this market where we're seeing a lot of projects actually swell up. They're actually waking up. And to see Nexa actually come down with followers is not something that I really like to see. In fact, I would like to see the opposite. Now, their posts are up 69%, which means that they are active on their socials, on their X. And I'm using X as as a base, because we know how important, quote unquote, crypto Twitter is to actually promote new projects and so on and get that engagement. And we can see that also on their Discord. Their Discord is a bit quiet for my liking. So I think overall, they have a bit of work to do here on their socials, and it's going to be a challenge. Like I mentioned, this project, the challenge is creating hype. Tokenomics, the supply halves every 4 years. However, that's where you're going to see the total, the circulating supply increase a little bit because, of course, more tokens are going to enter the market. Less than the previous because the halving, but nonetheless, it is still where we're at. We're going to see 140 years to reach the fully diluted, the fully 21 trillion amount being hit the market, the max supply to hit the market. It's going to take away of time. So you're going to have to be patient there, and you're going to see that the price should hold up because the emission is going to be nice and flat. Fair launch, that's decent. That's what we want to see and hear, is something that where the team members or some sort of whale was given an opportunity to buy a bunch as a venture capitalist or something like that. So doing pretty good. Their partnerships, nice hash, okay, 50-50, we're there. I understand that they're a small project and there's no real indication of any other partnerships. If there were, they should have made them nice and clear on the website. I didn't get any other than nice hash. So pretty good, not bad for a small project. At least they got something going on. And the exchanges, Nexa is the only one that I can say that right now I would put a little bit of faith in for liquidity. That's it. The rest of them are very small. We don't know if we're going to be able to sell our bags quickly, and overall the volume is what we need to see in these projects. And if we move over, you can see that ultimately Nexa, forget the price is there, the market cap, okay, fine, the trading volume, this is what I'm most interested in, and of course it's only 8% of the total supply, which means that it's not that much, but it's not too little right now. So there's a little bit of market participation here, both buying and selling, is which is what you want to see. You want to be able to sell and also buy on the open market, and the only way to do that is to ensure that there's enough liquidity, and that's what centralized exchanges do very well, is provide that liquidity to us as traders, buyers, and sellers. Okay, so that's important. I would like to see a more larger exchanges listed in the near future. And max supply is 21 trillion, fully diluted 290 million. So just note that the actual supply on CoinMarketCap is at 2.25 trillion, approximately 10% of the circulating supply of the total supply. So for accurate details, in fact, it's quite difficult to get that information sometimes on some of those websites, like comparing CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. But obviously, a bit more research as far as how the emissions are going to go might be worth it. But nonetheless, it's still around that number. Okay, so looking for details sometimes is good. Sometimes you're just big picture ideas. We have a lot more tokens still to hit the market. So generally, my verdict is this. Part of the layer one, obviously proof of work, trilemma, that is a big thing. What is the trilemma? For those of you that don't know, decentralization, security, and scalability. Those are the three things that all layer ones try to, let's say, improve. And it's all based on using Ethereum as a benchmark. The benchmark as Ethereum goes, there's a lot of improvement that still needs to be had. And that's why individuals are looking for, or in this case, projects are looking for solving those issues. So again, Nexa is definitely one of those individuals sticking with the proof of work consensus as a layer one, offering better solutions for the trilemma. Token should provide more utility. That's something that I definitely feel is important, or at least give us a bit of an idea of what this token or this coin is for. Like at the end of the day, like just rewards for what? Like, I know the ecosystem needs to grow, but still there's no utility yet if there's no ecosystem. And that for me leaves me a little bit, in the gray zone. Very competitive space. This is probably the biggest thing for me. When I'm looking for a project, I'm looking at competition, market cap. At the end of the day, they want to basically absorb or take the market cap from competitors. In this case, Ethereum, number one. Number two, when the bull run, when more volume comes into the crypto space and we see that the total market cap increases, how are they going to perform against their competition to absorb that new money coming in? And if they are competitive, they will be able to absorb more than their competitors and obviously eventually hold a bigger piece of the pie as far as market cap goes. But without the hype, it's going to be very, very difficult. Now, the question is, how can proof of work, layer one solution create hype when there are so many out there? So many, right? So this is the biggest issue that I see is going forward. How are they going to differentiate themselves from their competition and bring that hype into and all eyes on Nexa? It's going to be difficult for me to see that happen. I got to see a great marketing campaign. I got to see the marketing team actually come up with something really good. And of course, marketing costs money, so they're going to have to generate some sort of funding for that matter to get things going with a bit of strength there. So it does, again, proof of work consensus mechanism that Bitcoin uses. That's a very bullish thing. We've become very comfortable and have the understanding that it is a mechanism that works really well. Okay, utilizes a 4-year halving cycle. Miners earn 10 million Nex per block, so every 2 minutes. Fully diluted, the full 21 trillion supply will reach in about 140 years. So we got lots of time, and that fear of dilution can be put at bay a bit because ultimately it's going to be released over a long period of time. It's not going to happen all at once. We're going to see a lot of tokens hit the market and dump on the price pretty much. Okay, so just slow and steady, just that's essentially how that's going to work. Team is not well documented, unfortunately, on the Nexa website. However, on the Bitcoin Unlimited, there's a lot of information there. I would have liked, again, a LinkedIn profile for at least the top 3 dudes that are part of the team. That would be really good. But you can't always get what you want, and at this case, at least they got some info and their names and so on and so forth. Extraction is good. Discord community could be a little bit more active and engaging, and a little bit more basically activity happening there. It's pretty stale. The website is good, but it can offer a bit more information. As you notice, as I was scrolling, you got a lot of the deep dive information ready to go, but no white paper, guys, is part of the bigger issue, the big picture issue. It's an indication that this project is still very young, right? I've been doing deep dives now for a good while, and every time I jump on a deep dive and I start looking into a team, I start looking into a project, if they don't have a white paper, it's very likely that they're still young, which is a problem, because if they want to be treated like a big established project, they need to get that white paper going ASAP. In fact, a white paper should be produced before even a website. And I know that's hard to say because you want to get traction, you want to get, publicity and all of that, because a website and, token release is important, but at least get a white paper that has something going with regards to its tokenomics, its economy, its emissions, its distribution, it's a little bit on its technical side, a bit about the team, a bit about everything, and then improve on it, make a different version and upgrade it. Don't have none whatsoever, guys. That for me is a bit of an issue. Ultimately, what do we expect from the Nexa price? Ultimately, I expect Nexa to do well. Okay, but again, there's some reservations here because of, again, the marketing for me is the biggest issue. And when we start looking at the fact that we have other blockchains that are very similar, and the biggest thing that I've seen in the community is that people are comparing the Nexa capabilities to the capabilities of other layer ones that have been flying, that have used very similar concepts like Caspa, for example. Now, we can compare Nexa to Caspa, that maybe Nexa will be another Caspa, but the reality is Caspa took advantage of its first mover in this, bull run, or this first leg to the upside that we've had in this market. So could Nexa actually replicate and repeat what Caspa did? It's possible. But the reality is Caspa had something really going for it, which was community. The community was very, very strong and adamant, right? And they were committed. Now, Nexa does not show that same commitment, unfortunately. Now, if things turn around and we go on the Discord and we see Nexa actually, come up with a little bit more interest in as far as community, it could do very, very well. Now, this is, again, the marketing is the biggest thing that I'm most concerned with. With that being said, it's still very possible that it takes not the position, but gets to the level of which Caspa got to, or is currently at, which would give it a run of about 50x, which is significant. Not to say that it can't surpass, not to say that it will get there, but if you look at the metrics, and the reality is where we are in this current market, we are not yet in a full-fledged raging bull run. So once we get into all-time highs level, price discovery levels, altcoin season levels, Caspa will continue going, other altcoins, other layer ones will continue going, and of course Nexa will get its opportunity to shift to this next level where some of these other major players are currently. And if that's the case, it's very likely that Nexa does a 50x. And if that's the case, guys, there's some real good gains to be made. But of course, a lot of these things are dependent on the fact of all these factors that I discussed here with you today. I give it a 7 out of 10, given the fact there are some little, gaps that need to be ironed out. However, guys, it's still a decent project and it still has a good potential to go to higher levels. All right, guys, let's take a look at the charts. I know you're here to talk about charts. What's going on here with the Nexa price is somewhat concerning because we're in a bit of a retracement, no doubt. But retracements are meant to be bought. Dips are meant to be bought. Now, the question is, could we come down a little bit lower? Very possible. Could we get some support right now and get a bounce to the upside? Also very possible. That's why it's all a game of probability. Let's look at this in a little bit more detail. You can see that ultimately, we're in a little bit of a level where we can get support. Let me zoom in here for a bit. We got a bit of a volume gap here. And we got a previous high. We got a bit of cluster supply and demand right here that could act as support or give us a bit of a reaction spot. And we can see that ultimately this is a nice little retracement. Now, do we actually get support here? That is the biggest concern for many of us in the market. And a lot of the altcoins are doing a very similar thing. Some of them are getting a bit of a dip while some of them are running. And that's very normal in an altcoin run when we see altcoins take turns running, and some of them retrace and then they flip and they switch and they continue. So you got to look at Nexa already did a really good run. One impulsive move to the upside. Now it's probably due for a nice retracement. Now a retracement could get you all the way down, in my opinion, could break below into this volume gap. The bottom of the volume gap hitting right around here. Many zeros, 9261. For me, that would be another buy of the dip opportunity. Let me get rid of this Fibonacci because it looks like it's just cluttering things up. And then we could probably put it back in for a second here and just do a swing low to swing high to see what kind of retracement we're dealing with. Currently, the bottom of this volume gap, if I zoom in here, you can kind of see the bottom of the volume gap is the golden pocket 618 618. That's all it is. Nice 618 retracement. The 0.5 fib is where we are right now at the top of the volume gap. And you can see based on the daily, we also have the 200 daily EMA, which is the orange line right there, ready to go to act as support just in case it does come down to this level. Now you can see that there's a lot of confluence in this zone. That means that ultimately, guys, be prepared that the price could definitely come down to many zeros, 9204. But where we are right now is still kind of holding up. We got one bounce, two bounces, three bounces, and if you get into lower time frames, you can kind of see what I mean. We're getting a few bounces as we speak right at the top of the volume gap, okay? And we are also currently respecting the 200 EMA on the 4-hour. So for me, this is not a bad time also to take a bit of risk, because if we do eventually get that bounce, and even if we make a higher high, double top, even a slightly lower high, it's still an opportunity to potentially see a small bag get to higher levels. And we're talking about a bit of a bounce, right? So even if we get all the way to this level, it's a 20% run, 25% run, double top, you're looking at a 50% run, and a slightly higher high reaching the top of this volume gap gets you at a level where you can double your money, which is a great opportunity, no doubt. Not even talking about any leverage. Even if you get in with a small leverage, you could do very good. Now, the thing is that where do you put your invalidation on this price action? The only place that you can put it right now is at this previous low. We make a lower low, guys, it's coming down. It's already in that state that we broke support and ultimately started filling up this volume gap just a little bit. But this is the name of the game. If the top of the volume gap wasn't respected, maybe now this 200 EMA on the 4-hour is being respected, and it is going to be used as a springboard to basically get a bounce. So this is the thing. This is where you're going to have to understand that all trades require a little bit of risk taking. However, mitigating or minimizing that risk is where the magic is, because you basically want to put a stop loss at levels where you know that if it breaks below, the likelihood is that we're coming down even further, and that is the current previous low right around many zeros, 11016, right around this level, and we come down to lower levels. Now, what would you be doing here on this dip? Are you going to be, stopping yourself out? Or are you going to endure a 15% dip and just DCA and buy more and drag your average cost? So if you plan on doing that, where you plan on just DCAing, buy it a little bit now and then just buy a little bit more, just be careful with your position size up here. Because if you go all in and you get too heavy, in fact, what you're going to have to endure is a significant dip. Right? You're going to have to understand that that position is going to get into the negatives. And we're talking about a negative of about 23% dip to get to this level, which doesn't look really good. But if you get in with $100, you're looking at losing $23. Not a big deal, right? But if you get in with $1,000, you're looking at a $230 dip. That might be too much for your risk tolerance. So it's all about your risk tolerance. It's all about what your plan is. And ultimately, if you get in with a small bag here and it does come down, you will be able to buy the dip at lower levels, dragging your entry cost or your entry level a lot lower. Now, what about if we get that bounce? That's the issue, is that if you get in with a small bag and we get a bounce, you're only going to have a little bit of a position to take profit from. But guys, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, any gains are gains. It's about risk. Ultimately, the sustainability of any trading strategy is based on mitigating risk. Ultimately, that's what you want to focus on first, is your risk management. So from a risk perspective, putting a stop loss here or getting into a small position size, anticipating a dip is what you really have to do at this current moment, because we don't know how deep this dip is going to go. Right now, it hit that 0.5. It kind of fell below the 0.5. We got a bit of a bounce, and maybe we come back down and try to get to that golden pocket, which for me, based on the volume gap, the bottom of the volume gap, these previous highs and this previous price action, and the list goes on, it's very likely that we get down to the golden pocket 618, and that would be a great place to be buying the dip and spamming those buy orders. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you updates along the way giveaway, of course. Join me live at 7:30 Eastern. We can talk about crypto news and price action all night long, of course. And guys, feel free to, if I offered you any value, do the channel a massive favor and slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on those socials, the links are in the description below. Of course, join the Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.